Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. Before we begin, just wanted to give a thank you to our sponsor, as SSBRC and Dr. Hug, for the extensive work they do. So I'll begin today's topic, why smart women feel like fraud, and how to use relationship science to fix it. Um, in 2025, there was a study published by a journal, Social Psychology of Education, and they surveyed 80 women in STEM programs across the United States. And interestingly, what they found was that 97.5% of women, nearly all of them, reported at least a moderate level of imposter experience. So this is not 50, 70, it's 97.5%, which is a big number. And these women with published research, like high GPAs, they have proven success, and yet almost every single one of them felt like fraud at some point of time. And then I want you to think, you all have heard of Maya Angelou. She's the poet who won 3 Grammys, a Pulitzer Prize nomination. She had a Presidential Medal for Freedom, and she actually is a mentor to Oprah Winfrey. And once she said, and I'm quoting her, I've written 11 books, but each time I think, uh-oh, they're going to find out now. I have run a game on everyone and they're going to find me out. Maya Angelou, 11 books, and she still feels like a fraud. So here's what I want you to understand. This is not a you problem. This is a pattern. And today we are going to talk about why it happens and how we fix it using relationship science. There is something called confidence paradox. It sounds fancy, right? But it's actually very simple. What it states is that the more competent you become, the more you notice what you don't know. And the more you notice what you don't know, the less confident you feel. So I want you to really pay attention to this and try to understand that imposterism is a feeling. It's a feeling of being an intellectual fraud, even when there is a strong evidence of the success that you have. Um, People, especially women who struggle with this imposter fear, they typically fail to internalize their success and instead of that, they attribute it to external factors such as luck. So let me take you back to Maya Angelou's example. It's a very perfect case study for us to analyze in today's webinar. By any objective measure, if you look at her success, she is the most successful writer of her generation. 3 Grammys. We think of getting one. She has three. Pulitzer nomination. As I said, Presidential Medal of Freedom. 30 facilities are named after her. Her face is on a US postage stamps. Oprah calls her mentor. And yet, before every single book, she thought they are going to find out now. That's the paradox. The more she achieved, the more she feared exposure. Not because she was failing, but because she understood the weight of what she was doing. So the confidence paradox will hit you, particularly the high achieving woman, especially when it becomes hard, because the research shows that women are more likely to attribute their success to luck as compared to their counterpart men who attributes their success to skills. Um, and when you believe your success is luck, you live in a constant fear of being found out. And that's where you start believing that you are an imposter, that you are faking it. And here's the truth. What paradox really reveals is that confidence does not come from knowing everything. It comes from acting despite not knowing everything. So how we do it? You know, it's surprisingly often we women get an advice saying, well, think positive, believe in yourself. Uh, but that doesn't work because your brain already knows that you're lying. So instead, I want you to really shift your focus from, am I good enough, to who needs what I have to offer? I call this who needs this approach. Affirming can help you feel like you're being in your position. But when you get feedback, take that and use it to build your confidence. When you focus on value, you are going to provide others, like your clients, your team, you know, the value, and this fear of this inadequacy will start to diminish. So I'll give you my own example. When I was offered a job, I felt it came too easy, and I felt like, well, what experience do I have? Though I had extensive experience of teaching, written 26 Scoopers Journal articles, being author of a book, I still felt, what do I know? Am I just pretending I know? And I actually, in one instant, when I was contemplating of taking it, I started thinking, these students are really going to benefit. They're really going to benefit from what I have to offer. The moment I said that to myself, I had no second doubt. Instantly, I was confident enough to say, you know what, I'll take it. And I'll tell you, when it was offered, I was actually hiding because I didn't want it to take it. I felt like I was not going to do justice because I did not know enough. But that one thing where I said, no, no, these students can really take benefits from what I have to offer, it all shifted. So I want you to really shift your focus. Think, who needs this? And then apply this approach to everything. And always remember, so you have to take your action first. The confidence will come later. Like, don't think that I have to build confidence so that I can do it. A lot of people take this backward. They think that confidence has to come first and then we're going to take action. And that is absolutely wrong. Giving autonomy and trust to yourself will empower you to help in reducing that imposter syndrome. Okay. So in other words, when you act, when you take ownership, when you make decision, despite that fear, you're really building the evidence to your brain, giving it an evidence, saying that, you know what, I have the competence, I can do it. I want you to go back when you were learning the driving for the first time. Did you feel confident getting behind the wheel? No. You would have been scared like me. I was scared. I was even scared going to the driving test, thinking I'll fail it. But the more you try, the first time is always hardest. Once, twice, 10th time, 28th time. Then the confidence is there. Then you get behind the wheel. And now, like you're driving for years, you just get behind the wheel. You put in your address, or you probably know majority of the addresses, and you just drive. You're not terrified. You're not terrified of the signal. You're not terrified of the speed. You just have this ability to take action. So I want you to start taking action. The confidence is going to show up. The same thing applies to your work. You don't wait till you're told what to do. You already know what needs to be done. You always take a lead. You always take a lead on the day that you start. So I want you to kind of keep thinking about it, that every time I take an action, the confidence is gonna follow. There is a method called Gottman method, and I am going to borrow it so for today so that you can apply this concept. We call it Gottman method. It comes from couples therapy. What it really means is that the couples who have a very deep reservoir of their positive feelings towards each other, they can fight without falling apart. And the good stuff often overweights the bad stuff. We call this more like a positive sentiment override. So I want you to borrow this concept and apply it to your relationship with yourself. Okay, it's the relationship with yourself. Most high achieving women, they often operate in a very negative sentiment override. One critical email will cancel the 9 compliments they would have received for the day. Their one mistake erases their 20 wins that they would have accomplished. And if I have to say it simply, I would say you doubt yourself more. And the more you doubt, the more exhausted you become, the more likely you are to quit entirely. And how do you fix it? So you need to understand that I have to build the reservoir of this self goodwill by consistently noticing and documenting my own achievement. And I want to hear, please visit www.ssbrc.com. Dr. Hug has very important and very interesting work also on imposter syndrome and how we as a woman actually in negative environment underestimate ourselves, and it's usually is the environment that takes us away. So it will be very interesting study for you to read if you wanted to learn more about it. Now, let me bring you to a more practical example, a real world example also. Serena Williams, you all know a name in tennis sports, phenomenal athlete. When she's on the court, the confidence that she oozes is remarkable. But early on in her career, she also struggled with self-doubt despite her wins. I remember watching her interview. It went very viral on Reels, and it was like her saying, "Yeah, I'll win it." And she was very young, so she had this confidence. But there are times when she did still struggle with self-doubt, like if she would. And she then learned how to document her evidence. So she would kept what she called her win file. Not for it was not for anyone else, but it was for herself. So the days when the doubt would creep up, she would look back at the real evidence of her competence. And I want you to do the same. I want you to take this practical application, create a folder. It doesn't have to be on your laptop. Create a folder on your phone and please name it evidence. So every time you get a positive feedback in email or message, screenshot it. Every time you solve a problem, take a note of it, write just one sentence. Every time someone say thank you, you save it. And then you have this whole evidence folder for yourself that when a day you have this voice that it says, hey, you are an imposter, and it's very loud and you can't shake it off, open that folder. This is not for your ego inflation. It is basically for you to give your brain an honest map of your competence. And again, I want to take you back to the research that has been done by SSPRC. There was something that the research found was that, you know, it revealed that you've been doing, that women report significantly higher level of knowledge hiding than men. And I want you to understand that why women hide knowledge, why they do knowledge hiding. Uh, it's not because you want to hide what you know. The research showed that uh, because they work in an unfriendly environment where they have been ignored, interrupted, or had their ideas stolen. Uh, Dr. Huck said that there's research found out that knowledge hiding directly leads to higher depression and higher anxiety. And those mental health then impact women negatively and their job performance. So I want you to connect the dots to Dr. Huck's research that proves something that's most self-help books wouldn't, they get it completely wrong. I want you to really understand that what the research of Dr. Huck is saying and what we are discussing today is that imposter syndrome is not just in your head, it's in your environment. Okay. And that brings us directly to understanding. So, how do we overcome it? How do we change our relationship with ourself and our thinking? So remember what I said in the very beginning that confidence, it's not a confidence problem, it's a relationship problem. So the solution has to be rational too. You cannot fight imposter syndrome alone, and you're never meant to. I'll take you back. I want to show you a good example that Dr. April Erickson, she's a rocket scientist in NASA. She actually helped build instruments that went to Mars. She's a Black woman in a field where she was often the only one that looked like her. So she said once that what helped her was to find a small group of women engineers, and they will meet once, and there was no agenda, just like sort of honesty to share their fears, their failures, some small wins, and being part of the peer group broke that isolation. So Dr. Erickson said that when she heard another woman who was brilliant, really brilliant woman, she said, and I'm quoting, I feel like I don't belong here. And that's when Dr. Erickson realized that if she feels that way, then maybe her feelings aren't true either. So, listening to another woman, Dr. Erickson thought that if if that woman is saying that she doesn't belong here and she feels that way, then Dr. Harrison felt that her own feelings of were not true either. So they are just feelings. And you have to find that one person, just one colleague, one mentor, or a friend who gets it. Send them a voice note on Friday. Just list your three wins. Modesty, it's not modesty, but it just allows that fear to go away. And you don't have to do fixing. So please remember, you don't need fixing, okay? It's not about modesty. Uh, this relationship science is going to show you that someone else is a witness to your success. So once someone else becomes witness to your success, your brain in actual flags it as real. And when someone else holds your fear without judging it, you feel that there is a less power of that fear on you. It just kind of gives you that release. So one thing I want to touch base with in this webinar, where we often don't hear about, is because it's very uncomfortable. So I want you to really think of it this way, that your imposter syndrome is not coming from inside of you at all. It's coming from the culture around you. And that's what Dr. Huck was also mentioning in his study. There is something we call tall poppy syndrome. There was a study done by Dr. Rumi Billan in 2023. It was the largest study of its kind. They surveyed about nearly 4,710 women across 103 countries. And they came up with this phenomena called tall poppy syndrome. They found that 86.6% of working women have experienced being cut down because of their achievement or success. 77% had their achievements downplayed by others. And 72.4% of women felt left out in the meeting, or they were either ignored. And 66.1% had others take credit of their work. And here's the impact. The 85.6% reported higher stress. 73% said it negatively impacted their mental health. 66.2% experienced lower self-confidence, and 61% reported burnout. So one participant, and I'm quoting, said in that I was told in a previous job by a former chair of my department that my achievements and hard work made everyone else look bad. Another participant said, and I'm quoting it, I was openly promised a promotion to the C-suite and then later told I was too outwardly ambitious for the opportunity. I'm completely checked out, embarrassed, and looking for a new job now. So as I said, this is not in your head. This is real. When a woman stands out, succeeds visibly, or speaks with authority, she is often socially penalized. So we are looking at these studies where we are finding that men in leadership position are more likely to undermine women due to their success, and then women are more likely to cut down their peers. And here's what's happened. Now your brain has learned that after being cut down for so many times, you start cutting down yourself before anyone else can. So you lower your standards. You make yourself smaller. You call it being humble. But here's the truth. That's not humility. That's survival. And it's costing you. So differentiate yourself. Imposter syndrome is actually a best friend of perfectionism. They're very best friends. And when I say best friend, I want you to understand that the imposter syndrome literature divides people to these four feelings. There are four groups: the perfectionist, the superwoman or the superman, the natural genius, and the rugged individualist. Perfectionists, they set impossible goals. The superwoman, she works harder than everyone else just to cover up perceived inadequacies. The natural genius believes things should come easily, so when they have to work hard, they feel like a fraud. The rugged individuals, they will think asking for help reveals weakness. And all of us, at some point of time in our career, in our life, have really been part of this group. It really sounds familiar to me, so I hope it sounds familiar to you as well. And that's why I want you to look at this relationship and say to yourself, good enough is actually excellent. Okay, whatever I do, good enough is actually excellent. In fact, this will help you reduce your stress level and it will bring your stress down. And I want you to bring that personal bar down by 10 to 30%. Really allow yourself to be human. Learn to be in public. Learn to make reasonable mistake. That does not reduce your performance. It actually increases your resilience. And once your resilience is increased, it will increase your creativity. And I'm going to leave you today with these 3 specific tools. And I want you to please start today. Name the betrayer. Next time you feel like a fraud, don't fight it. Just say it out loud. Just say it to yourself. The feeling is not true. This is my brain confusing visibility with danger. Then tool number 2, externalize it. Okay, means your memory is lying to you. So remember that one critical email is allowing you to forget the 9 compliments that you have received. Pick one person that you know can speak to who will not let you shrink. Send them a voice note. Say something, and it works. It really proves that someone else is witnessing your success. So your brain is then automatically flagging it as real. And the tool number 3, I call it a 2-sentence rebellion. When this fraud voice gets too loud, it could be before presentation, before review, before a hard conversation, anything. Just say I'm not responsible for how comfortable other people are with with my success. I'm responsible for showing up. So remember, always remind yourself that tall poppy said study is saying that 6.6% of women have been cut down for their success, and you don't have to participate in your own diminishing. So say it again, and then walk in the room and, walk in it as if you own it, because you do. So I will just leave you with few core ideas that we covered, and I want you to really sit with it and reflect on it. The more competent you become, the less certain you will feel. You have Maya Angelou, you have Serena Williams. There are other women that are well versed, achieved, and they still feel. So you are not alone. Always shift from self-doubt to service. Please ask, who needs this? Who needs this? How can I be of service? Build positive sentiment override. Create an evidence folder and document your wins. And thirdly, please secure a connection. Share your fear with one person who gets it. Honest conversation. And number 4, name the system. Recognize the tall poppy syndrome. Name it. Just say 86.6% of women experience it. I'm not imagining it. And I don't have to play by those rules. My last words to you today: you don't have an imposter syndrome problem. You have a visibility problem. And because somewhere along the way you learned that being seen is dangerous. So come out of it. I hope you enjoyed this discussion. I look forward to seeing you next time, next Sunday with this webinar. Thank you.